again, and welcome to another edition of Spits and Suds. I'm Gavin Spittle of 105.3 The Fan. Let's get a pro's perspective on last night's game and what should happen Friday night in Colorado. It's 17-year NHL veteran. He won 2 NCAA championships, and he also took home 2 Stanley Cups. He's our very own Craig Ludwig. How are you, Luds?
I'm doing okay. I'm just got my life jacket on and ready to get carried away.
We have received a lot of rain, and you're a ritzy guy. You live on a lake. How high is it? Is it close to your house?
No, not yet.
Okay.
It'll go up. You know, Louisville's kind of regulated, but yeah, it's from what they're saying, we'll be. I'll keep you updated.
That's right. I'll come with the arc. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so Brent Severin was a guest with Sean and RJ this morning, and he said he was talking about the 99 Cup team, and one of the things that he mentioned was the calmness that you guys had as far as you were more upset, he said, when the team won but didn't play their game, but you guys were pretty normalized when you thought you played pretty good overall and still lost the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a confidence thing. I think you believe in the process. We had been groomed, so to speak, over a few years prior with Hitch and coaching staff and Bob Gainey, and kind of to believe in what we're being sold. And I think as a couple of years had gone past, you're knocking on the door and you don't get in, and then all of a sudden you have a kind of season that leads up to winning different ways. Our MO was to pretty much keep it low event, and we didn't give up a lot. We had a goaltender that we knew if he ever lost a game, he always came back stronger. So yeah, there was a calm demeanor. I think bottom line is there was belief in what we were doing. And I think this Dallas team has gone through some similar things all year long. They found ways to, they've had they didn't have many, but they had their 2-3 game losing streaks, and there was no panic and that starts with the coach. There was no panic, and no, it wasn't our best game, but we're right there. And I think as a player, you appreciate that more than the panic coming from behind the bench. So, and I believe that's how this group is. I think what happened here with the Colorado team is the morning stages of mourning the Valeri Nichushkin news, 24, 36, 48 hours, whatever it is. After the fact, I think it came at such late notice for that group of guys that they were still in shock. And then I think they probably had some meetings and some talks about the situation. And, I think Val was an real important piece of that group. And I mean, the leadership group through the rest of the team. And, I think there comes a point when you're all pissed off at what happened because you feel you let us down. And then you kind of regroup and go, you know what? This guy's been on a path, and, we thought he was on the right path, and maybe he got off the path a little bit, but let's do it for Val. And I think that there was a different mindset, not necessarily early in the game last night, because I watched their better players, the McKinnons and Rantanens, and you hear that thunder?
Oh yeah, just heard it. And there was a massive lightning strike.
That's Jesus talking to me right now, saying, "Don't go too far with this Nichushkin thing." But I think that, hey, let's he's going through something right now. Maybe that's what they use for motivation as a group, like saying, we think we're in a bad situation. We think we're down 3-1. Think about what our teammates going through. So maybe that's what they are. But, for Dallas, did they think they were going to run the table? And, so
Right.
I just think that there's going to be a better, I don't think there was a couple goals, that I know Ottinger would, like to have come back at him differently. And, but you could see the confidence coming a little bit. I felt early in the game, I thought, nope, they're done again. I'm talking about the Avs. Dallas scores a quick goal. Robo makes a nice play on the first one to get it out, and Pavs gets off to Schneid, and so everybody feels good for Pavs and all that. But then they come back and they score a goal, which is if there's ever a timely goal and you have to go back and find out there's only 0.6 or whatever left on the clock at the end of a period, you got one team that's going into the locker room going, shit. You got the other team going, all right, and their game just kind of got a little bit better. And, they finally scored a couple power play goals. So I think things were kind of falling in line with them, with that team as the game moved along. And, there was a different hop in their step. And, again, McKinnon got a goal, he had an assist. Lehkonen, and Makar. So their right guys were going last night.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. From a defenseman standpoint, Tanev has been unreal. Obviously wants that penalty back. I'm sure Suter wants that penalty back because you can't hold McKinnon's stick. They're going to notice that. And the Tanev got cross-checked. How tough is that, Craig, when you get cross-checked like that, not to fire back?
Well, it's a lot less tough when your guys go out and kill it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it happens. Again, it's the heat of the game, and you're trying to walk that line as much as you can about getting under the right people's skin and making it difficult on their top players. And you could, everybody could see it as soon as it happened. His head went back, and
he sold
and
it.
He looks around right away, which is always the last thing you should do, and go, hey, you're kind of going, hey, did you see that? And they're like, yeah, we saw that. And, and Tanev knew right away. But again, it's that trot to the box, and that trot's bad, but the trot coming out of the box after a team scores is worse, especially, in the play. But again, it's not like that puts you down by 2 or 3 goals, so, but that being said, you can accept it more if that's what you want to call it from that guy, because he's been fantastic and he has to play that way. And did he want to get him in the face? No. Did he want to get him across his the chest with just a little brushback? And, he missed. So, but you move on. And, that's the good news is they put themselves in a position that if a game like this came up, they got another kick at the can or two. But I'll tell you, when you're the team that does not have the 7th game at home and you win a game like this, like the urgency last night from Dallas you have to understand if you have a road team coming in that can be eliminated, but you don't step on their throat and you don't end it. Now they're going back home to where, yes, Dallas has been very good in their building. They've been great in their building, but they know that they can all play better in that building. That building has been very friendly to that team all season long. And they know that if they win that game, the next game, the pressure is on Dallas coming back home because you got game 7 in your building. You finished where you finished. You guys were up 3-1. You're supposed to win this game. So there's a little bit of, that's what I would be talking about in the room going, let's just put the game out there that we know that we can play. The one that's been shocking me is their goaltender. He really has played well. And I didn't firmly believe in that guy. I thought that was their Achilles heel, but the way they were going through the playoffs, putting up 4 or 5 goals a game, and that's the same way they won the cup. They didn't have a true number one that saved them. They scored a lot of goals. So, for Dallas, they're going to have to take that belief away from them early in that game, get through the first 5 minutes where they're going to be flying and just calm everything down, get the fans to sit down, get the players to go, and they've done that. So I think that's what you got to look forward to in the next game.
From a former player's perspective, Rope Hintz gets cross-checked and did not play last night. At the end of the game, Manson with a stick whack against Tyler Seguin, and we know Sagan's had injury issues in that area, and Seguin was pretty frustrated, went off the ice at the end of the game and took his stick against a wall. I guess my question is just part of the playoffs, Craig, or because Harley did that on Parise too with a pretty tough cross check. It seems to be getting a little bit more chippy, but is that part of the playoffs, or would that be deemed a little bit on the dirty side?
Oh, that's what the playoffs are about. That's what happens when you play the same group of guys every other day for 2 weeks. It's what happens when, let's put it this way, when you have a break in the regular season, and I don't mean where they're off the ice, but they're, where you're going to practice 3 or 4 days in a row. And, they don't do that as much anymore, but when you would practice 3-4 days in a row, and the way to kind of keep up with game situation stuff is you scrimmage a lot. After the second day, you start whacking your own teammates because guys want to succeed. That's why they're pros, because they play just as hard in practice against their teammates as they do against an opponent. That's how you keep your edge. And that's the game. And so it's just what's going to happen. Have you not seen it in every single game, in every single round in the second round now?
Yeah.
Every single series is like this, because if you get through this series, you go, you know what? We're 4 more wins away from playing for what we wanted to do since we were 8 years old. So you can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit. And so things become more important with every shift, every game, every power play, every penalty kill. So, and again, that's how Dallas is looking at it, and that's how Colorado's going to look at it. They're going to go, hey, listen, we're scaring them a little bit. So, again, if we're not Dallas Stars fans and we're neutral, we love this. I mean, I look at the other series, I love it. I mean, I don't really care who wins the other ones. I mean, I know who I'd rather have lose, that Dallas gets through, who I probably wouldn't want to meet if you had that choice. Which, by the way, did you know that the women's league can pick who they want to play? Of course you know that, right?
I do. The PWHL. I thought it was awesome. I thought it went viral.
I just heard that the other day.
I thought it was so cool.
I heard one of the players talking about it. Like, I don't know, we're looking at Minnesota. I don't know who the other team was. One was Minnesota and one was the other one. And we're just, we're looking at different things like that. And, they come out and they pick the right team, because I think they shut them out 1-0. But I just wonder if that'll ever, I hope it doesn't, to be honest with you. But anyway, no. So, I mean, this is what we enjoy about it. As long, we always enjoy it as long as your team comes out the other end of it, right? At the end of 7 games or whatever it takes.
Yeah. One of the other things I noticed too, in the losses to Vegas and the 2 losses to Colorado, I kind of shots on goal. I know it's an analytic that, if you put it on the net, good things can happen. However, you put it on the net, it counts as a shot on goal too. But I like that 30 mark for Dallas, because when they're not at that 30 mark, they've been losing in this playoff series. So personally, I would love to see more shots on net on Friday night. I am interested, if you're Dallas, Craig, do you match the physicality? Do you just play their game and ignore, what's been going on, as far as, because you could clearly see in the third period of game 4 and specifically in the second and third period of last night's game, a lot more physicality out of Colorado, specifically on the forecheck.
Yeah, and that was something that they weren't being able to do. They were getting shut down in the neutral zone, and so they weren't able to get in, and I think they changed their game a little bit. They wanted to play, I think in the first few games, they wanted to play that puck possession kind of game where they can carry it through the neutral zone. Very rarely, Dallas has been very good through the neutral zone, and when teams are exiting their defensive zone, is that they've got numbers, and there's very few outnumbered rushes, and when that happens, you've got to be able to change your game a little bit, and specifically the guys that are the puck carriers, the McKinnons, the Makars, the Rantanens, those kind of players, and you can see them putting pucks in, allowing to get a forecheck, and again, it's no secret. If I'm part of that coaching staff in Colorado, and I see, again, we've talked about this a lot. I mean, that group over there is playing 5 defensemen. Every time they go back to get a puck, put it in Miro's corner, put it in Essa's corner. Make sure you finish them. You don't have to run them through the boards, but make it look like they're running and walking through mud and trying to get out of their own zone, and and try to wear them down. So I think that's part of what they're doing, and then we're going to be able to create some chances off of that, and pucks are getting to the net. They're if you watch a lot of their games during the season, they're the kind of team that a lot of times they want to pass right into the net, because they have that top 6, although their captain's not there, but Landeskog would probably make a big difference if he was in the lineup for him. But the Lehkonen kid's doing well playing up there on that top line. He's getting some things done, and so I think they're putting more pucks at the net. And when you put more pucks to the net, it just kind of takes away the indecision of the other 2 wingers, especially. Do I got to find a hole because McKinnon's going to, put a pass over here, a saucer one over here? Well, no, what's going on in the net? So what do you do is you go, I'm going to the net because I know what's going there. And that's typically what happens, so you end up getting a few more rebounds, and then you just got to battle them. And then the more you can battle that group of 5, I think Lundqvist got all of 2 minutes last night.
Yeah.
So, I've said this earlier, it's the longer it goes, that's why it's important for Dallas to get this thing over with, and let's get our 5 guys, because it doesn't seem like that's going to change. And they're going to try to ride the 5 guys right down to the end, and God bless them if they can, do that. But, again, you're seeing as the playoffs go along and you get a little bit more fatigued, it's just natural. You can see some injuries popping up, and don't think that they're going, well, Tanev made it back in the lineup, but, Hintz is out. Let's hope Sagan's out. Foxa went down. We're beating them up. So that's got to be part of their game plan. And for Dallas, they're not going to shy away from that. They've got to do the same thing. You've got to play the game that's out there.
Wanted to give kudos to, and a big time stick tap to Jason Robertson. Craig, last couple of years, highly criticized for his what's been happening with him in the playoffs, and we're just seeing a Jason Robertson that's different out there, Craig. Especially the physicality.
He's competing.
Yeah, absolutely. And something you pointed out.
That's the difference.
Yeah, you pointed out too, Craig, that something that I want people to see what Jason Robertson's doing. He's not staying on the outside. And You're right. He's moving toward the inside. That first goal was great to see Pavelski, but the hustle and the speed of Jason Robertson entering that zone and taking that puck away, it was really impressive. I just continue to watch him on the ice. The big hit that he had at the beginning in Colorado after Stankoven was hit with a big hit. So I've just been overall extremely impressed by him.
I think sometimes when younger players are doing all of those things, starting with Wyatt and then Stankoven, and you see when Steele does it, and then you got an older guy and Smith that does it, even those guys only get 8-10 minutes or whatever it is a night, you kind of start buying in. And I think it's on himself going, I don't think he had the year he probably wanted to get to 50 goals. And we had said earlier in the year when he wasn't scoring goals, he's got to get an ugly one or two. You got to quit playing on the perimeter and find ways to get a couple ugly goals. You look at the goal score, look at Zach Hyman in Edmonton. I mean, I don't know if that guy, of the 54 goals he got this year, I'm guessing 40 of them were within 2 feet of the net. Again, he's got a pretty good guy giving him the puck a lot of times. But the point is you got to pay the price to score goals in this league. And maybe the light bulb went off. Maybe Robo said, you know what? I don't want to be known as a 40 goal scorer, in the first part of the year in the regular season. You make your name in the playoffs. And that's, you look at all the greats and, they all did things in the playoffs, and they weren't known for going through the regular season and not showing up in the playoffs. And now, you can put him out there and he seems to be competing. That's why I just look on like the kid's competing now. Like the light bulb went off, he gets it, and I'll score some ugly ones. And, and again, if you got certain players that aren't doing exactly what you've seen during the regular season, those guys got to step up. And so, Pav, it was nice to see Pavs get a goal last night. But it's not like Pav's going to get any faster as the series goes along.
Right.
So, maybe Robo's, looking at doing a little bit more. And now Rupe, let's hope he comes back soon, but he's not out there. And maybe Robo looks at it and saying, hey, I gotta pick it up for my centerman's not here tonight.
We were talking on Monday about Pavelski and his age prior to last night's game. And Sean brought up the question. He said, I've never actually spoken with Craig regarding how he knew it was time to retire.
Again, for me, I was going to hang it up the year before, and I got talked into coming back. And then actually they tried to talk me to come back the next year, after we won the cup. I think for me, it was like, I remember do you remember a guy by the name of Nazarov?
Yeah.
Big Russian kid.
Was his first name Elaine?
Yeah. He was in Detroit, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he ran one of our players from behind. And so I grabbed him and man, he just ragdolled me. And I was going, what the hell is that? I mean, he's a big kid, strong. And, I could usually outmuscle everybody, but I was like, what the hell's going on here? And then you just kind of go, you feel like you've lost your step and you're not getting to the same places at the same time that you should. And you kind of know, and again, like Pavs knows, but the good thing is I was talking to some guys in the locker room the other night. Joe's a guy that plays the game from the neck up. Yeah, he's got the good hands and stuff like that, but the reason he's been able to do what he's done, especially since he's been to Dallas, is he plays with his head. He sees things before he gets the puck where the openings are. How many times does Joe get a puck and it's off his stick, and it's whether it's a saucer pass or an area pass to whether it was him. That's why he was such a, you think he was playing with Hintz and Robo because he could skate just as well as them. Right. He can get him the puck, and he goes to the front of the net, and there's times, like he went to the front of the net last night on one of them. It was actually on a goal against, I think it was their, I don't know if it was fourth, fifth one, whichever one it was. He went in and he kind of went to run the defenseman. He got kind of tipped over. But again, it happens, and not that Joe's going to be a physical guy in front of the net, but he's a leader. He's a leader in that room. He's a leader, obviously, with the hottest guy in the playoffs, especially for Dallas, Wyatt. He's in a slump now. He didn't score last night, so I don't know how he's going to come out of that. But, he's an important piece. And I think don't think the coaching staff and the scouts and the GMs and everybody else sees it. I mean, we know he hasn't been at the same pace this playoffs that he was before, but, to the coaching staff's credit, they're finding ways to make sure he's getting his minutes and that he's not losing confidence. And again, he knows that he would like to have 3, 4, 5 goals by now, but they're making sure, because he is a big piece of that team, that we can't just play this guy 9 minutes or 8 minutes tonight because he may look like he's not moving as fast as everybody else on the ice. And he may look like he's struggling at times, but hopefully that goal last night, gets him back into that groove. But again, he plays the game with his head, and he's a competitor, and that kind of stuff, is infectious.
So Andrei Nazarov was nicknamed the Russian Bear, Craig.
Yeah, no shit. I found out he was.
But here's the thing. Like, you talk about being ragdolled like it was just some normal player. 6'5", 245, Craig. This was a giant.
Yeah, well, I wasn't thinking of that when I went in there at the time. All I saw was what he did to Gilly, to the player, and kind of cross-checked him. Gilly hit his head on the dasher and cut him. And you don't think of those things when things like that happen to a teammate. You don't go, oh, wait a second, I think his stats are 6'5", 250. I better not tipped her. Like I did it with Probert a couple times. That was the dumbest. That was even dumber than Nazareth, Nazareth or whatever his name was. So yeah, those are. I mean, again, how many times you see, like let's just take, the Boston Florida series.
Yeah.
Did we not see, their superstar go running in there against Tkachuk, and ask the coach, hey,
right,
he wants to fight. I'm going to go. That's what those kind of players do. You don't think about things at that moment. And you kind of think of the group. We're not playing right. This shouldn't have happened to my teammate. Somebody's got to do that. And again, Hatch wasn't out there. So I think I probably looked around and said, hey, Hatch, where are you? And he's sitting on the bench. I'm like, oh no. So anyway, it just, it just happened. But,
okay,
but you kind of know. I mean, when it's that time. And it's really the reason I didn't come back the next year when I was asked to, because it was actually in December and going into January, and I went to coach our minor league team, and I was asked to take my equipment with me. And I'm like, why would I take my equipment with me? I'm taking my skates and my gloves. I'm going to coach. And, then it got around to it. And there's 4 or 5 days off there, and maybe you could skate with the guys. I'm like, why would I want to skate? I just finished. And then it was like, I'd like you to come back. And I sat on it and I thought about it, and I said, I need a little time. And ultimately it came down to my twins. I just said, listen, I felt like I lost a step last year. I got no problem embarrassing myself in a game. Well, I do, but I thought, man, my kids were just getting into high school, I think it was at the time. And I'm thinking, man, they're going to have to go to school, and their kids are going to go, man, did your dad get roasted last night by so-and-so? And I thought they don't deserve that. So that's kind of where I was at the time. But again, I think you get to the point and it. And I played with a couple guys, that are Hall of Famers. I think we talked about this before, and they kind of hung on a year or two longer. And I thought, man, I don't, that's great for you, but it just kind of, you're kind of always remembered for your last performance. And I thought maybe they should have hung it up, because they don't need any more money and they didn't need any more trophies. And, so anyway,
so when you skate
like back, anything else, like you probably are going to figure it out sooner or later. You probably don't belong in the position you're in.
What's that about? I still have my fastball, sir. When I no longer have my fastball, I will retire. Absolutely. I agree. And that will give us more time to hang out, which is absolutely wonderful. By the way, Saturday, Craig and I are going to the Rangers game, and this is going to be great.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to that for months.
Yeah. And don't put your...
I'm looking forward to my 2 cans of Miller Lite when I get there.
I'm stocking with a lot of Miller Lite, but don't put your wife between us so we can't talk. I know that strategy. I mean, granted, I'll talk to her all day. I love you.
What are you talking about? I left the suite and I went out and sat by the bar. Your buddies wanted to have a shot of Fireball.
Well, because they know your reputation, so they want to hang with Luds.
We chatted.
I'm sure. And you better have said good things about me.
Oh, I do while I'm there. I don't badmouth you till I leave.
All right, sir. Well, be safe in these storms. Thank you for your...
We're looking at another late game, aren't we?
Yeah, 9:00.
9:00.
Yeah.
No respect.
No, they actually think Dallas is on the West Coast. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've certainly noticed. Yeah. Heaven forbid on a Friday night that they would start an East Coast game maybe at 6:30 their time.
Heaven forbid.
I know.
You know what? It's a good opportunity to reset a bit for the team. Little reality, and we didn't do what we were supposed to do. We've been doing it for a few weeks now, and we got away from it a little bit, and we thought, and again, maybe it's a good lesson going into the third round. We can't take anything for granted. Nobody, they're teams that are in the playoffs right now. Nobody's going to roll over and just give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So we better, but again, I think the urgency meter's got to go up and say, our goal is, well, which it is. I mean, but we got to make sure we go there to end it.
Yep.
And let's get this over with. Let's not put ourselves in a do or die situation.
And a pretty big bounce back game for Jake Ottinger as well, which he's Pete DeBoer has said it time and time again. That's one of his favorite aspects of Jake Ottinger. Losses do not stun him, and he's really good on back-to-backs. Okay, So that's going to do it for Spits and Suds for today.
There it is. That's not thunder. That's a horn. The arc is pulling up right now. I can see it out there.
All right. Be safe. Go down. You don't have a basement. Do you have a crawl space that you can fit into?
Jesus. I'm going to take a cooler. I'm going to go sit right on the deck and let it come at me.
What a way to go.
Take it on. I take you on once a week. I can take this on.
Oh, my God. What if this tornado is like the Andre Nazaroff of tornadoes?
I didn't learn then. I probably won't learn now. It's okay.
He's the greatness of Craig Ludwig. I'm Gavin Spittle. Thank you so much for
listening.
listening.
And by the way,
what?
I want to tell you, this podcast was presented today by Ludwig's Pool Service.
Okay.
Yeah, my younger one keeps telling me, Dad, I'm the one pumping this podcast up and telling buddy, how come you never mention our pool company?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm going to. I should have did it off the top. So this is presented by Ludwig's Pool Service.
So Ludwig's Pool Service. So it's your son that has a pool service?
My younger one and one of my twins. They've had it for 4 or 5 years. So
okay. Well, let's get some information on it. And I'll plug it for sure. Yes. Contact me directly.
I want to see it on your social media.
Don't go through your dad. Go through me.
Yeah, the thing is, I get nothing out of this thing.
What are you talking about?
It's just, I don't know. They work their butts off, though. So I promise you, I can call CJ right now in this weather, and he'll answer, and he'll be cleaning a pool right now.
Okay, is it throughout DFW, or is it just a certain
area?
They're
kind of what they're trying to do now. They started their business off to where, they were taking everything and everybody in every pool. And now they're in a position where they've got a lot of those pools. Apparently the business works where you can, at some point, you can kind of package up some pools and for other people that may want to get into the business, and then you can sell them off. And so I think that's their goal now is and they've actually got another product that they've patented, and I can't speak about it, but apparently we'll see. So anyway,
all right.
They're able to now sell pools in a certain area that are travel wise are a little bit further for them, but then all they do is they turn around and then they'll take over pools so they can kind of get a little bit more closer to, their houses and don't have to drive all the way to the other side of Dallas. And cause they live up here where I do. And, so they do a lot of driving. So I think it's a luxury of, it's just because they put a ton of work in the last 4 or 5 years, know, and now they're at that point where they can, kind of pick and choose where they want to go. So,
well, there you go. Great plug by Pops. Look it up.
Ludwig's Pool Service.
Ludwig's
I said it 4 times now, CJ. So I think we're good.
Stick tap to CJ for all the hard work.
I expect a check in the mail, CJ. Or at least come over and help me move some furniture, you 3 bozos.
4, Ludwig's Pool Service and Craig Ludwig. I'm Gavin Spittle of 105.3 The Fan. Have a great day, everyone.